free to drop your questions in the chat box. We're going to get to the questions towards the end of the program. Right, so I'm going to go ahead to introduce our guest. I have with me here our couples that are very dear. They are very dear to my family, and there is one thing in particular that drew me to this family, which is the fact that our daddy is very hands-on, and I feel like that would be very, very relaxing for mommy. Permit me to say it that way. And when I mean hands-on, to the extent that if the children want to eat and daddy and mommy are together in the house, the children will go to daddy and say, "Daddy, we are hungry." And I love that so much. When I see them outside, "Oh, daddy, I want a wee, daddy this, daddy that." And this tells us that it's a very lovely family where both the husband and wife are totally involved in the care of their children. This inspired me so much. So I'm going to be opening the floor for I don't want to say their name, so I'm going to say that their mommy to introduce themselves to the house before we start. Over to you, sir and ma.
Thank you very much for having us. We are delighted to be guests for this wonderful section. My name is Sosa Higato, and with me here is my wife, Precious, and together we live in England, United Kingdom. You want to say hi to them?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here to speak with you and to you in this regard today. Looking forward to having a great experience.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, sir. Please forgive our mom. She's having a little cold, so but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to hear her. And despite the cold, she's happy to be here with us and still share her experience with us. Thank you so much. Sir and Ma, we are really, really excited to have you here. And I'm just going to delve into the discussion as quickly as we can. So before we start, I had a burden for this program. By the way, we are discussing a topic titled Navigating the United Kingdom School System as Christian Parents. And this burden was placed in my heart as a new mom myself. There are lots of questions that we have about how to navigate this environment. And by the way, I believe that we have people who are not just in the United Kingdom, they are also in other countries. I have people from Canada here. So as much as we are kind of tailoring the topic towards the United Kingdom school system, please stay with us because we are going to be talking generally on parenting, and this knowledge will be applicable even to people outside of the United Kingdom. So please stay with us, and I believe that God is going to be helping us in Jesus' name. Right. So as I was saying, I was going through a Bible verse, and that was the backbone of this event. And it's the book of Romans 12, verse 2. I'm going to be reading the NIV version. It says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is good, pleasing, and perfect will." So because of the environment we find ourselves, there's every tendency to feel pressured as to what to do as parents, bringing our culture from back home and trying to navigate the system, and not just the school system, but also the school culture and the should I say societal culture. It's a lot to navigate around, especially as immigrants. So that's why we'll be talking and discussing on how to navigate this school system. And I believe that we are going to be getting a lot from this conversation, right? And I'm going to get into it now as I ask the first question. And this is going to be about understanding the school system itself. My husband was just asking a few days ago that, he doesn't even understand. He keeps hearing year one, year two, year this, year that. And all we know from back in Nigeria is primary school, secondary school, and all of that. So how do we need to understand what the school system is like, how is it structured in comparison with our Nigerian school system for better understanding. So I'm going to throw that question to you, sir, to kindly help us shed light on the school system structure in the United Kingdom. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mark. The school system in the UK is very much different from what obtains in Nigeria. The foundation year is what we call early years, and early years are for children between the ages 0 to 5. So this stage entails formal development, right? I mean, early development rather than formal schooling, right? In Nigeria, it is regarded as daycare, or in the local parlance, jelly simi, right? You just take them somewhere so that they can engage themselves while you have your time for other activities. So in the UK here, it is called the nursery or preschool, and that is for children between the ages of 3 to 4. So early years comprises of different stages. The first stage is the nursery or preschool, and that includes children between the ages of 3 to 4 years old. Right now, early years is optional. You can decide to school your child, your children at home at this stage, right? And then the next stage is reception. Reception are for children between the ages 4 and 5 years old. This is officially the first year in school. It is compulsory. Compulsory education starts at this stage, right? So moving on from reception, you now have the primary education. But before I get to that, the early years is structured around what is called the early years foundation stage framework. EYFS, right? Now, what they do at that age grade is to develop social, emotional, and early learning foundation. They learn how to interact with their peers. They learn how to develop their cognitive abilities. That's why you see at that stage they're always drawing, painting. They involve them in developing motor skills so that when they are set for the real education, they're able to hold their pencils, they're able to hold their pen to write very well. So that development happens during the early years. Now, they now move on from there to what is called the primary education. And this is for children between the ages of 5 to 11 years. Primary education is divided into two stages. First is key stage one, and then second is key stage two. So for key stage one, you have children between the ages of 5 to 7. So in key stage one, you have year one and year two. In Nigeria, key stage is known as primary school or primary education, right? So what you have year one, year two, that's primary one, primary two, back in Nigeria, just to lay a foundation for comparison or similarities. Now, they move on to key stage two, and key stage two are for children between the ages of 7 to 11 years. And key stage two comprises of primary three, primary four, primary five, or year three, year four, year five, year six. That is key stage two. And then when they are done with key stage two, which is primary six in Nigeria, year six here in the UK, they now do what is called a sit for SAT, right? SAT is like an aptitude test where they test them in mathematics and English. So the key aim for key stage is to develop core literacy, numeracy, and foundational subjects. They start doing the sciences, right? So moving on from there, they go to secondary school. So secondary education in the UK are for children between the ages of 11 to 16 years, right? And that is called key stage. So it's divided into two, key stage 3 and key stage 4. So for key stage 3, you have children between the ages of 7, I mean, children between the ages of 11 to 10 years. That's year 7, year 8, and year 9. In Nigeria, you could say GS1, GS2, GS3. So Key Stage 3 in the UK is junior secondary education in Nigeria. And then you move on to Key Stage 4, which is senior secondary education in Nigeria. So for Key Stage 4, you have just 2 years, year 10 and year 11, and they're for children between the ages of 14 and 16 years of age. So thereafter, they sit for what is called GCSE, which is likened to WAEC in Nigeria. Now, I've heard so many people say the British system of education is quite slow in that the children, they don't learn, they don't start learning early. But I
Mm.
tell you what, by 16, they are done with secondary school, which is the age that young people finish secondary
Yeah.
school in Nigeria. So
Mm.
their system is structured in a way to help them grow. They don't rush things because things truly shouldn't be rushed for children at that age. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That is quite explanatory, and it's my first time knowing about all the key stages. So I'm so happy to know about that as a new mom. Right. So I'm going to be directing this question to mommy. Um, and the question is, so when I first came to the UK, and a lot of friends of mine that came with their children wanted to get their children into school, a lot of them were advised to get their children into a faith-based school. So a lot of them were trying to get into a Catholic school, and all that. So the question is, which is much better? Um, because I just think that not everyone will eventually be able to get their children into faith-based schools. And I can understand the reason why a lot of people are trying to get into faith-based schools instead, to ensure that the religious morals are still upheld compared to the general school. So what is your opinion about this? Is it better to get into the faith-based schools, or can our children as Christian parents still manage or survive in the general secular schools?
Thank you very much for the question. In my view, choosing an educational path is one of the most important decisions parents make, because at that point they're trying to create a balance between the child's academic excellence and also helping the child grow in faith. So, in my view, I feel like so many things have to be in perspective before choosing a child's school. Um, there are so many factors. There are so many factors we need to put in place. Some people will choose faith-based schools um, because they feel that the children need to be groomed spiritually. Um, just trying to make them avoid make them avoid making them being exposed to the social vices of attending the normal schools, the general state schools, and all of that. But I think a lot of things have to be in perspective before choosing a school for your child. Number one, is the child able to thrive in such environment? Because the Catholic schools or the faith-based schools might be a bit restrictive because they are not too exposed to the real world, so to speak. Is so when they are now faith after the school, after the secondary school, they are still going to face the real world, So I think in my own opinion, the major work has to be with the parents to groom your child spiritually, pray for them, and also um be close to them so they can share things with you. So for people who choose faith-based schools, there's nothing wrong with that. um if they decide to, is very much okay. However, the faith-based schools have to also be specified. Is it in line, what they are teaching them there, is it in line with your own religious belief? The fact that it's faith-based doesn't mean that it's actually in line, in sync with what you believe. For example, it might be Catholic school, it might be just because most of the schools here are Catholic schools. So, are you a Catholic? Do you want to send your children to school in a Catholic school? If you're a Catholic, it's okay to send your children there. But if you are not, I mean, as Pentecostals, we mostly teach our children that if you want to access Jesus Christ, if you want to access Jesus, you go to Him directly. But in Catholic school, they teach them to pray to Mary and then to Jesus. So, is it really worth it? Do you want to go that route? So, you have to think about it. And then you have to be sure that your child can also cope in such environments. And also, you have to also bear in mind your own, um, take into consideration um, your family
Values?
values. No, not just values, the peculiarity,
Hmm.
your peculiarity, what works in your family, where you live. Do you have faith-based schools there, or do you have to change your accommodation to get them to those schools? Would you be able to do transportation, the school runs, and would you want to expose them to going to the school by themselves and all of that? So you have to put a lot of things into perspective
Hmm.
before taking your child to those schools. So that's just my own point of
Wow.
view.
Thank you so much for that, Ma. I mean, at some point I was looking into schools and I was more focused on those faith-based schools. But like you said, there might be situations where your house is not actually close to the faith-based schools and you won't want to go 1 hour just to get there. And also, like you said, children would leave the primary and secondary school settings and will still mingle with the world eventually. So why not just, together with prayers and your guidance, let them be exposed to all. So I'm going to go back a bit and let Daddy talk about the type of schools that we have in the UK. We've talked about faith-based schools generally. So what other school types do we have? And you can also add more to what Mommy has said about the options of choosing.
Thank you very much, Ma. There are different types of schools in the UK. There are state schools. By state schools, it means that they are funded by the government, right? One of such schools is the community school, very common all around. So, community schools are run by the local authorities, what we call local government or local council in Nigeria, right? They are not influenced by religious groups, unlike the faith-based school. They are
Mm,
not influenced by religious groups, right?
mm,
And then you also have what is called academies. So academies are funded by the state, but they run independently. Do you want to check the waiting room? I can see some people trying to join.
yeah, I've added it.
So academies receive funding directly from the government, but are run by non-for-profit academic trusts, right? They are run by a group of people called trustees. They have control over what is done in such schools, right? The government does not have control over what is done in those schools, although the government funds those schools. So next is faith-based schools or faith schools, like you have mentioned. An example could be a Christian school, a Catholic school, a Muslim school, a Jewish school. You can have as many as possible religious based schools. Now, faith-based schools, what differentiates them from state schools is the fact that they choose how and what they teach in religious studies, right? So they go a mile further. They go a mile further than other type of schools in terms of religious studies. They follow the national curriculum, but they go a mile further in terms of religious studies. So they are very heavy on morals and religious things, right? So next is what is called free schools. Now, free schools are also funded by the government, but they are not run by the local authorities. In free schools, they have control over what they do, right? So an example of free schools are schools that are set up by charities. They are non-profit schools. They could be set up by charities, they could be set up by universities, they could be set up by community, by anybody. So those are free schools. Then next is what is called grammar school. You will help me in this one. Now, grammar school are for children that are done with the key stage two. Don't forget I said key stage one is year one and year two. That's primary one, primary two. While key stage two is year three, four, five, and six. That's primary three to six. Now, when they are done with key stage two, they move on to secondary school, right? In this case, grammar schools are like the King's College of Nigeria. They are like the Queen's College of Nigeria. They are like the Bobi College or Methodist Girls High School. I don't know the name they call those schools. Can somebody help me in the comment section? I don't. I can't remember what name they call those special schools that you have to write. They are not special schools because special school is a category on its own. So those schools that you have to take a special Unity School. God bless you. That's the name.
Okay.
Yes, that is
Oh
the name.
yeah, yeah.
So in the UK, they are called grammar school, and pupils are admitted based on their academic abilities. They don't just grant them admission, they write a test to go in. And you don't have grammar schools scattered everywhere. They are very limited to certain areas in the UK, right? So if you are lucky to have them where you are, by all means, ensure that your child goes there. I tell you, they come out really, really well. And then next, we have the independent schools, or what is called private schools in Nigeria. So these schools, they are not funded by the government, right? So they charge for fees. They charge for fees. And pupils in these schools, they do not necessarily have to follow the national curriculum. Obviously, because they are charging, they want to justify,
Yeah,
what they
the
are
amount
charging.
they're paying.
Yes, they add a lot of things, extracurricular activities, and all of that. However, they are registered with the government. They are inspected by the government regulatory agency, which is called Ofsted, right? So that is independent school. Now, we also have a school called special school. Now, special schools are for children with special educational needs, and they are for children from the ages of 11. So if you've been following through, 11 years is the age they enter GS1, right? Or
Yes,
key stage
three.
7. Yeah. The key stage
Let's
3,
say
God
three.
bless you. You're following. Key stage 3, God bless you. Yes. So they have to be 11 years of age, right? So when they are still young, below 11, they all attend the same primary school with other children. But from 11, they have their own school. And these schools, 11 and older, they specialize in four distinct areas of educational need. Number one is communication and interaction. Number two is cognition and learning. Number three is social, emotional, and mental health. And then number four is sensory and physical needs. Now, who are the categories of children that attend these schools? They are children, for example, with autistic spectrum disorder, visual impairment, speech and language impairment, and all of that. So those are the children that attend this kind of schools. They take care of them specially. You see them every morning. They have a special bus that goes to their homes to pick them up. Those buses are designed to help their disability needs. And then you have another category of school called homeschooling, otherwise known as elective home education. It is very much legal in the UK. In this system of schooling, the parent takes full responsibility for their child's education or for the children's education. And this can only be done between the ages of 0 to 4. Compulsorily by age 5, that is when school year starts for every child in the UK. Now, speaking of whether or not to attend a faith school, it is the decision of the parents, right? It is the parent that decides whether they want their children to attend faith schools or not. Uh, Faith school has some advantages. It also has some disadvantages. Now, I'm going to share what I believe are the advantages and disadvantages. For example, in faith schools, you don't have as many pupils as you would in a state funded school, right? In faith schools,
Mm,
because
mm,
faith schools, some of them are not free, they charge, right?
mm.
So there are limited number of pupils. And I personally believe that the more pupils you have, the more
Exposure.
exposure the child gains, the more they're able to
Mm,
interact, the more they're able to learn from people with different background, the more they are able to acquire different coping skills and mechanisms that we see them through life, right? Now, faith-based school, they offer you morals and education, but I tell you what, even the people teaching those morals, they may not have it themselves, if you understand what I mean. They may not have the morals themselves, but they are obligated to teach it because they are paid to do so,
mm,
right? And
mm,
your child attending a faith-based school, your children attending a faith-based school does not mean they will come out better than those that attended
mm,
state-funded schools. The
mm.
Sunday school in church is a faith-based learning
Mm,
system. I would rather train my child or my
mm,
children and lay the foundation very well. As a matter of fact, beyond the Sunday school teaching that they receive in church every Sunday, I've got a teacher that teaches them Bible study and what they need to know scripturally. Of course, we imbibe Bible teachings, daily devotional, praying, and all of that.
yeah.
I believe those things are better taught in the home front
Mm.
and let the children go demonstrate it that they have it in them outside. That's my opinion on the choice of
Wow.
faith-based schools. Thank you.
Right. So to be honest, like I caught something from what you said just now.
Mm,
I'm used to hearing that, oh, I got a math teacher for my daughter or for my son, for my
mm,
child. I got an English teacher, but you just said that you have a teacher who teaches them Bible study.
yes,
I'm impressed.
thank
Wow,
you.
that's interesting. That's something to consider. If anyone finds that helpful. So yeah, I'm going to be asking Mrs. Egato this question. Um, so I think I see myself as a storyteller, so permit me, because most of the questions I try to relate it with a past experience. So I like sharing examples. Right. So I've seen on social media and from close families where their children would be like, oh, I don't want to wear jacket to school. And it's not like they are not cold, but because it's like a trend in the school, or they say, oh, this particular jacket, I don't know what designer jacket I should mention now. Oh, North Face. Maybe we should go with North Face. Oh, I want North Face. That's what my friends are wearing in school now. Or they say, oh, mommy, I want a Stanley cup. I don't like the cup we are taking to school. Things like that start coming up as children grow. So my question is, how do we help our children to maintain faith despite peer pressures around them? How do we maneuver that? How do we manage that? Over to you, ma.
Thank you very much. Um, we all grew up from various families and all of that. And sometimes our parents indulge us. Sometimes we ask for things and they say, no, you're not having it. At other times, they indulge us. So I feel like if you should have a relationship with your child, it shouldn't just be we shouldn't just be authoritative. No, you're not having it. No, don't do this. Everything cannot be no. We can't keep saying no all the time. So in my own view, um, especially the fact that it's in this part of the world, you don't know what the child is facing in school. For them to be demanding, making such demands, um, it's okay to indulge them sometimes. If you go shopping and your child says, okay, I want this is what my friends, once in a while, it's okay to indulge them, get it for them. It would help to boost their self-confidence. And even you yourself, when you go for school runs, you look around, you see children, you see what they are wearing, you see what is in vogue, because this generation of parenting is not the way it was done back then. You go and you see, okay, this is what they're doing. You may just be quiet. And then your child comes and asks you, mommy, can I have this, please? You say, sometimes you indulge them. At other times, you tell them, especially when keep telling you, my friend is doing this, you could
Mm,
make them see that you cannot always have what others are having all the time. You have to be content with what you have. You need to teach them contentment, true. However, it's okay to indulge them sometimes, especially for children that there are very few blacks in a white dominated school. Their self-confidence has to be 100.
mm,
We're
wow.
not saying you need to break the bank. No, you don't have to. But please indulge them sometimes. Get good things for them. Don't get things that will make them feel um that will kill
Mm,
their self-esteem. Dressing is part of self-esteem.
yeah.
Make them look clean all the time. They want they said for example, the child that says he doesn't want to wear that jacket. You ask the child what is the reason why you don't want to wear the jacket, but the weather is cold. What is the problem? Make them see the reason that if you don't protect yourself, you're going to catch cold and you fall ill. Do you want to be in the hospital? So you try to negotiate with them. We
Mm,
don't have to be authoritative all the time. Most sometimes we have to stand our ground as parents, but it's good to always relate with them, make the home front a very safe place for them to confide in you and let them feel safe to come to you, to speak to you about anything. You give them hugs, just create that relationship, intimate relationship with your child, and with prayers they will turn out well. That's my own view.
and thank you so much for that. I mean, like that's oh yeah, I can see someone saying, "Well done, Mrs. Precious." Yeah, yeah, it's important to help our children grow in their self-esteem. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ma, for that. Thank you. So I'm going to go over to the next question. And this question is for Pastor Isosa. Um, so how okay, I like to give examples, don't I? Okay. So yeah, so let's because we have our values and our beliefs, right, as families, and our children are going to mingle with um people outside with different beliefs and different perspectives of life. So how do we teach our children to compassionately engage with their classmates who hold different beliefs? Because, of course, what we teach them, they are going to mirror when they get to school, and they would meet friends who say, no, that's not what I was taught at home. This is what we do in my own house, and things like that. So, how do we teach our children about managing other people's belief system safely?
Thank you very much. We live in a very funny world. hope you understand what I mean. Very funny word. Sometimes you have to be careful with your
Mm,
language in describing people because description is not by look, it's not by looks, right? I struggled with it myself. Somebody you think is of one gender and you address by that gender based on
mm,
physical, physiological, how they look, but they are not that way. Now, we need to teach our children understanding and forbearance, and that starts in the home. That starts in the home. We need to forbear one another. We need to be patient with one another. You can't give what you don't have. So your life is the mirror that they reflect. That's what they carry out. So the way you treat others, they are watching, right? The home is not just where we teach. Children learn from what they see. So we take them to the park, we take them for outings. They see how you treat people, they see how you speak, they see how you raise their voice. I mean, how you raise your voice.
mm,
And they take that with them to their school. There was a day an incident happened in my daughter's school, and then I had to call them, and they said some things. I said, no, it is not my daughter. And they said, yes, that they know her. So, like Auntie Bethel posted there, identity is very key. Help them to establish their identity, right? And it is also important to let them know that others may, but I cannot.
mm,
They are different in every sphere. And that training is inculcated in the house. It's not outside. They start learning how to relate with people. It is learned within the family setting, how we relate with each other, how we relate to outsiders when we go out for shopping, to the park, to church, and every other places. So our lives are a book before their eyes and they are reading it through and through. Children, it's easy for them to learn from what they see than what they are
really,
told to do.
mm,
That is why children in faith-based schools they still struggle because the
mm,
people teaching them they are only teaching them, but they are not exemplifying it themselves because that faith is not in them. Look at the genealogy of Timothy, Louis and Eunice.
mm,
So they passed it. It's a family values, instill it
mm,
in them. So every family should have ideals. So when we mention your family name, what are the ideals that your family is associated
mm,
with? Ideas is not just printing it out and pasting it on the wall, it is lived out. So I believe that is how best they learn internally within the family setting and they take it to school. Can I tell you something? Their peers are influenced by these things when they display it. Their peers
mm,
are influenced.
mm.
I mean, I'm almost mentioning my daughter's name. She's influencing them positively for
Yeah.
Christ. So,
Mm,
this climb is difficult. I tell you the truth, it's
mm,
very difficult. When I joined my office, I was the only black, and people
mm,
ask me, "How do you cope?" I say, "I don't see myself as black." I tell you something. My intellectual advantage is, I mean, my intellect is what gives me the advantage. My professional acumen, and I
mm,
make sure that I'm at top on that, so that
mm,
if you bring other rubbish, my my professional standing will, and that is
mm,
the same thing I take. I mean, I pass on to my children. It
mm,
gives me joy when I get feedback from their teacher. I say, these ones, they don't know anything. They don't, they
mm.
only knew the family
Yeah.
from the values we inculcate and all of that.
Mm,
So, so for me, I would also advise that as parents,
mm,
if you don't give anything to your children, ensure that intellectually they are sound. It gives them an advantage any day, anytime. Thank you.
mm. Wow, thank you so much for that, sir. Honestly, oh, thank you for that, Star Darby. Says that's my mentor. Thank you so much. Right. So, the next question for you, Ma. So how do we build a respectful and healthy relationship with the school teachers and the leadership? And this question is so important because I feel like a lot of African parents are walking on eggshells when it comes to relating with school teachers, especially because they are of another race. So I think sometimes we struggle to relate with them, understand them, and not just understanding them, but we can be kind of fearful that, oh, I don't know what I can do, and they would take note of and say, oh, we are reporting this, we notice this and that. So I think that kind of affects how we build interactive and healthy relationship with the school teachers and the school authority. So how do we manage that? How do we build a good healthy relationship with them? Over to you.
Um, thank you very much for the question. So, in my own view, the best way I think we can build a healthy relationship with the teacher and the school is not attacking them. If there is a situation, for example, maybe your child had a fall, or maybe a child took your child's stuff, or there's a situation that happens, the first thing I think you should do is to speak with the teacher. In every organization, there is hierarchy. If you move from the teacher and you go straight to the head of school,
Mm,
you're going to cause a hitch in relationship between them and yourself and the way they react to your children, whether we like it or not. They are humans as well. Even though they are thought to be professionals, they are humans. So we have to first give them the benefit of doubt and the respect to talk to them. There's a situation first. If, depending on the situation, you talk to them. If they're not able to handle it, then you could speak, organize a meeting with the head teacher.
mm,
And when you go there to meet with them, you don't go there as attacking them. You don't go there seeing them as the problem. You
mm.
go there as a partner. You are both partners in raising the child. It takes a community, it takes a village to raise a child. It's not only yourself. So you are going there to discuss with them, seeing them as partners, not the problem or the evil ones. No. So you're going to, like, oh, I see that I'm here to speak in regards to speak in regards to the situation that happened. I'm just looking out for my child. I understand you're also looking out for my child, and I appreciate your effort.
Mm,
But I would appreciate if this can be looked into, and then you discuss. So in that way, even when you're talking to your husband as a woman, you don't attack. You massage. That's the way of massaging their ego. You massage their ego, like you speak to them as partners. So in that way, you've already brought them over to yourself, and then they'll open up, and then they'll look into the situation. So you're working as a partner. You're not going to go there and be fighting or shouting at your teacher or shouting. It's going to cause problem with yourself and the school and with the children and the way they relate to your child. So we don't really need to be afraid, so long as we are doing our best in raising our children. I understand sometimes the fear can be there in even the way we handle them at home. We be afraid that let them not go and report, but you still do your best. Don't do what we are told not to do, and make sure that whenever your children are going to school, they're happy.
yeah,
Try to make sure they're always happy, and you're not going late to pick your children.
mm.
You're also taking care of your children. They can see from head to toe that you're
Yeah,
looking out for
kept.
them. The child is not looking neglected. No.
Mm, mm,
Whenever they organize programs, you are there, either of you, or both of you, depending on the peculiarity of your family. You're not missing programs or meetings. Your child is presenting, you are not there. They're calling you. No, it's not right. So first of all, you need to make them know that you are
Responsible.
responsible as a parent,
Mm,
and you are very much involved in raising your child. That way the respect is there. And then when you meet with them, like I said, you organize a meeting, you meet with them, make sure that you document, or immediately you leave the meeting, you send them an email based like in them based on the
with
relationship,
respect to the
the discussion we
yeah,
had, just
yeah.
document it to avoid
Mm,
any I said, he said, and all of that.
mm,
So just being
mm.
careful and prayerful and doing the right thing. I think everything should be fine.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for that, ma. Thank you. Like I caught something there. Make sure that your child is looking good, because if they are not even looking good to school, it tells so much about you as a parent.
Yes.
And that's when they can start looking for what is not lost. Anyway, if
Yes.
you understand what I mean. Right. So I'm going to ask this question as a backup to the question we've just asked, mommy. Um, so, sir, I remember that you acted in a film, Idia, and for people that don't know what the film was about, it was about an African girl that that's living in the United Kingdom, wanting to relate with their culture, but struggling to bring their culture from back home and marry it with the culture in their school environment. So and right there in one of the scenes, you were the father to Idia, and she had the ability to dance, which she had not discovered fully. Um, and then she tried to join a dance group in school, but she had not found herself yet, let me just put it that way. And one of the teachers approached you of it's a movie, I don't know if it's online already. We watched it in the university so it's not online
Not
yet.
yet. Not
But
yet.
yeah, and
Yeah.
for people to understand, I'm just giving a background. So the teacher approached you to say, oh, I don't think she can dance. Are you able to just tell her to give it up and choose something else and be involved in other activities, because we don't think she can, that she's struggling? And you had to advocate for her to say, oh no, you shouldn't say that, because I know my daughter, I know that she can do it. And of course, eventually Idia surprised everyone as she was the best dancer in that. So yeah, so the question is, how do you advocate for your child um without being combative? And I have another example of a parent who recently told us that they told him that his daughter is very quiet in school, is not engaging and all that, and they were starting to say that they think the child has some developmental issue. So the parent had to say, no, that's not right, because everything that happens in school, my daughter tells me. My daughter said she wanted a wish. She tried to call you. You didn't answer on time. So he had to quickly advocate to say my child does not have any developmental issue. In fact, she's very expressive at home. It's just because in the environment where she is, she's not able to express herself and all of that. So yeah, how do we manage that, to advocate for one's child without being offensive to the teachers?
Thank you very much. First, we need to understand as parents that God has created our children and ourselves wonderfully and fearfully, and He has made us for exploits, right? No child should be no child should be put in on the back bench for whatever reason by way of their color or racial ethnicity. No. Now, that's why it's good to be close to your child. Very important. Please, if you're an absentee father or mother on this call, I hope when you are learning something. We understand that work can be demanding, but please create time for your children, be close to your children, have conversations with them. If you are not close enough, they may not open up on these things, and these are very serious issues. They could take it could go on with them through life if they are not tackled early enough. Now, when your child opens up to you on things like this, please don't hold back in having a word with their class teacher. Please have a word with their class teacher. You have a right as a parent. It's called parental right. If you go to gov.uk, you are going to see all those things as it relates to your child and their school. You have a right to know what is going on, and they owe it a duty to tell you what it is that is happening, right? But the manner in which you approach this matters, so that it does not derail the situation, so that you can get the best for your child at the end of it all. If a child is showing sign of timidity, you need to understand what exactly is happening. Because I tell you, just as adults struggle, we of black extraction, right? That is how children struggle, and theirs is even worse. Like in my daughter's school, there was a time she was the only black in her class. So you can imagine the pressure and everything. I tell you something very practical. Sometimes she wants to play with them. I mean, this is outside the school setting. I take them to the park, and she wants to play with them, and they don't want to play with her. And it is deliberate, perhaps because of what their parents have told them and all of that. I mean, in the public, there's a limit to what you can do, right? So, but at home, you can talk to your child on building their self-esteem, their self-confidence, and all of that. Make them understand that they don't need to be in any camp or any group for them to live their lives as humans, right? I'm a typical example of that, and I exemplify it to my children. I am not a crowd follower. If everybody goes south, I will go north. That is me. I tell you the truth. I am teach them to be happy, to be in their own company, to enjoy their own. Let those other children be the one coming to make friends with them. That is how I live my life personally, right? So the home is the first school where this is taught and demonstrated. Be careful how you react to your children so that yourself are not contributing to that problem. In the UK, you don't shout at children, you engage them in dialogue. And I enjoy it with the white folks. You see a young white child, the way they negotiate with their parents.
Parents.
Daddy, I want to go to the playground. Say, no, you can't go, please, daddy, just for fun. They teach them that negotiating skill. But our black people, you see them just crying.
You're not
Just
going. You're not going.
and the parents say, you will not go there, no man. So we need to change our style of parenting, perhaps. We need to change it. We need to change it. That shouting, that scolding, it doesn't suit them. Because imagine when their minds are damaged already from scolding and everything, and then they go to school and school adds its own pressure on it, it doesn't make them, feel good, right? So we need to do a lot as parents. So review your parenting style. Parenting style is not cast in stone, and it differs from one child to another. So the parenting style you adopt for child A may not necessarily work for child B, right? So it's good you tackle this from the home as a parent. I know a colleague, the daughter had that issue, the same thing. They were like, she's got developmental needs. The woman said, no, I know my child and all of that. And then just to bring the child out of her shell, she enrolled her for dancing classes. And I tell you, they've been sweeping all the dance competition award in the entire UK. If you Google them, you will know they are black extraction, right? So now look for something that makes that child happy, that can bring that child out of that state, right? It will be a proof to the teacher that or the school that
Yeah.
they are not doing their jobs as well as possible. Don't forget that. Don't forget that there are professionals that are laxical about their duties, right? The fact that they are teachers does not mean they are perfect and they know it or no. So cut them some slacks. Mind your expectations from them. That's why you owe it a duty to do the extra work of being a present father or a present mother in the life of your children. And presence is not just by supplying their needs materially. No. Sit down with them, have conversations with them, teach them. We teach our children. They've got lesson teachers in different areas. They've got academic lesson teacher, they've got Bible study teacher, they've got musical instrument, they've got French teacher, but we still find that time to sit down with them, parent to child teaching. Bring out your, we still had it this morning. So when you are solving mathematics, you should have a pen and a paper with you. I always tell my daughter, yes, So develop them, find something that makes them happy and brings them out of their shell. And sometimes you may need to stand in authority to correct the teachers, but do it with wisdom. We come from very deep academic backgrounds, very, very deep. We understand, my wife understands the schooling system because she has all the experience from Nigeria. At times when these people talk to us, they think we don't know anything. You've got to let them know that, come, we know these things. So if you feign ignorance and you just, it continues. But sometimes you got to let them know that we know these things. And the way you put it matters so much. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Sir, sorry, I'm going to come back to you very quickly. As a backup to that question. So what do you do if you disagree with the curriculum content of the school, or you don't want your child to partake in some school activities? How do you manage that? Yeah, just
Speak to the school. Let them know what you disagree with. Now, there are things that are mandatory based on national curriculum. You may not like it, but they are mandatory. Relationships, sex education, they are mandatory. But there are some aspects that may not be in sync with your values or your belief system. Let them know. So you have a right to demand for the materials they are using to teach your children so that you can see it and you know what it is. And whatever it is that is not in sync with your personal family values and belief system, you can politely tell them to exclude your child when they are having those sections. You can't seek complete exclusion because it is part of the national curriculum, but you could withdraw. I mean, you could tell them to exclude your child from some or specific aspects that are not in line with your values and belief system.
Wow, thank you so much for that, sir. Thank you. To everyone following us, if you would like to ask any question, please you can drop it in the comment section and we will get to it. Also, for anyone, if you want to share this with perhaps your family, your friends, it's being recorded and it's live on YouTube. So you can obviously get the YouTube later and send to your friends and family for them to rewatch this program. Thank you. So mommy, to this particular question, right. So I've heard of parents that say that they are trying to give their child a boyfriend or girlfriend in school, and a particular family that I know, their child is so much loved in school that parents are always like, oh, how do you train your child? Is so lovely, this, that. And they are trying to make their children be friends with him, and eventually they are trying to say, oh, can even no to even to even add more. So apparently the boy is now getting love letters, and this boy is just about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years. Who is now getting love letters from colleagues, classmates in school. So this brings me to the question: how should Christian parents manage or navigate topics relating to relationship and sex education and gender identity with their children? Over to you, ma.
Thank you very much. Um, I think that the best way to navigate all of this situation is it still boils down to the way you raise your child. You need to invest in them spiritually. Um, because if you are raising your child properly, you should be aware that there's time for everything. There's time to, even the Bible said there's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's time for to everything. There is a season and a time to every purpose under the heavens. Even our children sometimes will tell you, Mommy, when will I get married? They ask these questions.
Wow.
Yeah. So even
Hmm.
at this age, they ask these questions. So we need to
Hmm.
make them understand that it's not a time for that. You will get married. If it's related to boyfriends and all of that, you tell them no, you're going to get married. But that's when you have finished your primary school, secondary school, you have finished your university, you're now a doctor, then you will get married. You don't
Hmm.
need all of that. We need to make them we don't need to shut them up. Like in that situation of a boy getting love letters and all of that, it is normal.
Hmm.
Even when I was in secondary school, I'm telling you, I'm being factual.
Yeah,
When I was
that's
in
true.
secondary school, sometimes
Hmm.
you come to school and you see secret admirers, they've written letter and put under your
Hmm.
school. So these are normal things. Okay, it shows that your child is doing well,
Hmm.
is
It's being
intelligent.
recognized.
So it's not out of place. It's not something to be of concern. The only concern is being able to manage it. Tell the child you don't need all of that. You could play with them, you could talk to them, but you don't need to have any secret relationship or
Intimate.
any immoral thing. Anything you know you that Jesus will not like, you shouldn't do it. So you need to be able to make the home, like I said before, a safe place for them to speak to you. Then always hug your children.
Hmm.
Don't let it be that they only get it outside or they shouldn't
Hmm.
even get it outside. Hug them, give them pecks. It's
Hmm.
okay to kiss them. They are your children. So they
Hmm.
feel safe with you. When your child comes, mommy, kiss me. You are not going to be pushing them away. So they feel it's something special when somebody does it to them outside. So we need to sex educate them and make them see that these things are normal. You will see it. Oh. People will come, they will come. I want to be your girlfriend. I want to be your boyfriend. It's okay. But to tell me about it. You always tell me everything, right? So you need
Hmm.
to have that relationship with your child. And then with the sex identity, are you talking of LGBT or
Yeah, that's too. Gender identity and all that. How do we, yeah,
navigate
let
that?
them understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number one, the first thing is prayers. Because even if there's nowhere in this Western world now, you won't hear of it. Even in your place of work, even in even if you take them to those grammar faith-based schools,
Faith-based schools.
see them there. You will see people
Hmm.
there. So
Hmm.
you need to make them aware that see, God created male, created female. Your God has created you a male. So you have to be a male. People are changing their sexes. So you need to educate them. People
Hmm.
are changing their sexes. So but see, God is not happy with them. Anybody that do that to go to hellfire. You need to make them aware and also make them aware of the health implication. You tell them, do you want to be a child of God or not? People are doing it. Or some people even come and tell you that you should change your sex, but don't listen to them. That's the devil talking to you. So you need to educate them so that when they hear it outside, they are not hearing it for the first time.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
my own.
Okay. You want to add something, sir?
Yeah, so my
Okay.
addition is that the education should start early. Don't wait until they start telling you somebody said it.
Mm,
So
mm,
start it early. I tell you what, I was in the playground one day with my children. Yeah, they were
mm,
not talking to my children directly, but I had a girl, very young girl, asking the other
mm.
girl if she has a boyfriend. I was shocked.
Mm.
I was shocked. Now, issues like this, from an African mindset, it is forbidden that children should be discussing things like that, right?
Mm,
But
mm,
don't sweep it under the carpet. Don't use gra style,
mm.
our African parent mentality.
Yeah.
You should be facing no. Address the issue. Don't sweep it under the carpet because what is swept under the carpet, one day somebody will sweep it out.
Mm.
It may be too
Mhm.
late. So
Mm.
address these issues early
Mm.
enough. Start the education early enough. That will be my contribution to that.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma. So, sir, Uh, the next question is how do we network with same ethnic parents? How do we build a community? And what importance is doing that to parenting in this side of the world? How do we build a community of same ethnic groups and of what benefits is that?
Yeah, building a community or a network of
Mm,
like-minded people is very, very, very important. And I won't tilt towards just the same ethnic group because we live in a global society. We are not living in an ethnic enclosure, right? So
mm,
why it is good to relate with people of like minds,
mm,
be it within the same ethnic group or not, it offers a lot of advantages. Principal of those advantages, the fact that you can learn, right? The white people, they are more conservative. They don't really talk. Do you understand?
mm,
But
mm,
within our community, there's freedom, there's
mm.
flexibility. Somebody can open up and tell you, share their experience, and you learn from it. I
Yeah.
tell you what, when issues arises and I need some guidance, there are
Mm,
two categories of people I call within ethnic group. I like to say like-minded
mm,
people, right? I call those that have gone ahead of me in the parenting journey because I believe they may have experienced it directly or indirectly. And then I
mm,
call those that are on the same parenting stage with me, right,
mm.
to rub minds on how they are navigating,
Managing it.
yes, that stage.
Mm,
So
mm,
yeah, it offers a lot of advantages to network. I mean, we have a thriving group which we all belong to, and we can see all the advantages it offers, including this section we're having. Is part of the advantages we get to enjoy belonging to a community. What I would say there is, if you belong to a community, don't be parasitic, right? Don't be the one
mm,
receiving all the time. Contribute to your community. Everybody has something to say. Don't say,
mm. They don't
don't
need
just,
anything from
you
me.
don't need anything from me. Or
Mm,
to say I'm not even joining because I don't have anything to know. That mindset is not good. Because beyond parenting, there are so many. Sometimes I think I reason within myself. I say how is it that this category of immigrants, African immigrant, how is that? Forgive me to use this word.
mm,
How is that the struggle is so much? Are there not people that have
Before
gone
us.
before us that we can look up to and
mm,
share with us?
yeah.
So, but I'm happy
Mm,
that we are breaking the barriers at this time
mm,
and kudos to Madam Bethel on this platform with all that she's doing for the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
If you're in New York, African Day is coming later this on the 23rd of May. It provides an opportunity to unite, to connect, to share ideas. So if you have always had the mindset of I don't have anything to contribute, or they have no, please, from today onward, change that mindset. There's somebody we met recently, a parent, and then she opened my eyes to something. What if we had not met her? What if we had not met her? So God opened her eyes to something that was happening in a school, and she had to stand in the gap prayerfully. There were things happening because it's a live section. I won't go
I
into
don't
the
want to
details.
go deep
There
into
were
it.
things happening that had a spiritual undertone, and she had to be practical. In fact, she told me by the time she got to the school, she had to take the sand from the ground and lifted it towards heaven and began to make prophecy, because the things that were happening, they were not good and they were affecting the children. And that opened my eyes. And the moment I got there too, because I was spiritually conscious, we just go to school, we think it's just the
Yeah.
children there and bring them back. No, there are so many things that goes on, so many. So open your spiritual eyes. I got more conscious of the school environment, and I could sense what was going on. So please, parents, don't be too relaxed about these things. Don't say because we are in the Western world. I was in a training last week at the office, and they were making an example and using witches to give an example, and I'm like, "Oh, serious." The things that are trivialized. Now they use it as examples for the children. Imagine the school telling me to come and pay for a dinosaur expedition, and I'm like, to what gain? I just want to watch children. So let's not trivialize things. Let's open the eyes of our understanding. I learned something from a prayer meeting I attended, and I will share with you because it is worth emulating to. When your children are sleeping at night, go to their room. If it's 5 minutes, lay your hands on them, pray with them. Pray for them while they are sleeping. You have control, exercise your authority as their parents. God has entrusted them to your care. They must succeed. Whatever goes wrong, God will hold you accountable. So you have a role to play. Don't just sleep and feel. And then when you take them to school, pray that God should open your eyes to see the things they're supposed to see. There's something that happens in my children. I'm saying it here. I'm a child of God. I'm saying it here so we can all learn. They have what is called this bake sale. If you're in the UK, I believe you are familiar with it, where they bring snacks and all of that and sell.
Yes.
I told I said, going forward, I will not buy this thing because the Spirit of God has instructed me. I don't know where it is from. So you need to take some very hard position, but call your children, make them understand why you are taking those positions. They will understand they are children, but God has given them that understanding too. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And in all honesty, I think my husband and I visited you. And when you shared that experience, I know you didn't want to go into details because we are live, of that person that had to pray. And I think you did mention that those people behind that thing started leaving the school
They
one
are
by
leaving the
one.
school. They start leaving.
Yeah.
They start
So
leaving.
that thing it stayed with me for weeks, and I can say that it's part of the reason why I had this burden to bring up this program, because I think because we are in this side of the world, we are so settled. We think everything is fine. We think the way we fear witches and wizards back in Nigeria, we don't fear it as much here. Meanwhile, the witches and wizards here are, in quote, we are on live session. So let me be very
No, they don't hide it.
yeah,
They don't hide it.
exactly.
People who went
Exactly.
to preach the other day, you were there. They carry their
Yeah,
arms and everything, and
yeah.
they don't hide it. Why should you hide
So
it?
we should not just be lackadaisical about how we handle spiritual things with our children. Because come to think of it, say you took your child to the childminder or to a nursery and all that, and what if the person you're handing over your child to is a witch, a wizard, or and you are not putting the right spiritual covering on your own child. So it's really important. And actually, I think we have answered this question with this discussion, but I'll just let mommy add more to it. Like, what role does prayer play in everyday school life and managing your children? Just for mommy to add a little bit more to that. What role does prayer play into parenting?
Before she adds the roles at prayer, please, I'm going to share. I'm going to share an experience. There was a day my daughter came back from school, and then she had a stomach problem. I just overlooked it. It's one of those things. And then, we just nudged her, go to sleep and all that. And then she managed to go to school the next day. And I told the teacher she has stomach problem, right? That she should put an eye on her. The teacher told me what was the word she used, that it's everywhere, something like that. That, like, that they are aware that it is ongoing among. And then my daughter came back, it still persisted. And then I called the GP and all. They said emergency, bring her to. I said, what? That was when God opened my eyes. I said, come, this thing is not ordinary. What did they give you to eat in school? And then she told me, and then God told me what to do. That was how I mean, we can't just be, relaxed. We can't just be relaxed. We are in this world. We are not of this world. Over to you, mommy.
It's more, my name is Precious. So, okay. The importance of prayers in the lives of our children cannot be overemphasized. It's really, really important. Going to a Christian school is a tool, but it is not a guarantee that the child will turn out well. A secular world is a challenge, but it's not a spiritual dead end. And the bulk of the work is from the home, from the parents. We need to invest in prayers for our children daily. You can just be walking, you can be in the kitchen, and you are just prompted in your spirit. You just say a word of prayer over your children. If they might be at school, you might be at work, it just prompts you. So, oh, I cover my daughter, my child, my son with the blood of Jesus. Nothing and no one shall by enemies hurt you. Just pray that short prayer will go a long way. So we have to be persistent, and we need to teach our children to pray.
Good.
We need to teach them to pray. Before you eat, pray on it. When you're in school, you can just say a word of prayer, talk to Jesus. He hears you, He will answer you. So it's just about the way we raise the children, the way we pray for them at night. It can be just 20 minutes, it can be even 5 minutes. Pray for them. You pray for them, you pray for yourself, because you yourself, you need to be alive to raise them.
Yes.
So you prayer proof your family.
Mhm.
It's very, very important. This generation of parents are just a new generation. We are exposed to so many things. We're navigating AI, phone addiction, global connectivity, so much. We have never been parents before. This is our first time of being parents, as much as this is their first time of being children to us too. So we are all learning. We don't need to be too hard on ourselves. We're all learning. So with prayers, with effort, God will make our everything turn out well. So that's my
Wow, thank you so much, sir, Ma. um, just to for how do I want to put it? Just to make us laugh before we start this meeting. Mommy did want me not to call her mommy. So as you can see her tell that who is mommy. She actually told me to don't call me mommy, but well, we thank God. I promised I was gonna try, but I don't think I was trying. I mean, I'm trying enough. Right. So, okay, there's a question in the chat box. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor, for that beautiful question. Um, And I think we should just go into it. I don't want to take much of our time. And I really thank everyone who has stayed this far with us. We'll try to round up as soon as we can. So there's a question from Mr. Victor. Okay, Sister Mommy Bethel said she's our mommy. Oh. Right. So the question says, says, good evening. Thank you for this beautiful conversation. Thank you. I've learned a lot in just a little time I've spent here. Oh, that's so good to know. Thank you so much. My question comes around religious beliefs and how to guide your children. Statistically, a lot of young youths are from deep Christian background are now becoming atheists and agnostics, and it's becoming a trend. And there are now awakening movements targeted to bring most young youth out of Christian belief. Most children growing up would be exposed to this by one means or another, and their religious belief will be questioned. How do you bring up your children in a way where they have their own conviction, not your own, and they stand strong in their belief? That's a very great question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We must first of all make the children understand that Christianity is not Christianity is about following Christ, not pretending to follow Christ.
Mm,
Right? Apostle
mm,
Paul said, "Follow me as I follow
follow
Christ."
Christ.
These children, they may be young, but
Mm,
they have that perfect understanding. It goes beyond teaching them. Your life is a book before them. They are reading it. How you behave, how you react, how you interact. You are teaching them patience. Are you exercising patience yourself with your spouse, with them? Now, if you are not careful, they will just be waiting for the right time.
mm,
And you know, in this UK, there's the right time
mm,
when they are completely off your hook
mm,
and they can do what they want. I was somewhere in Aberdeen 3 years ago, and I went for a program, and then the parents were there with their son, and the boy said he is not following them back home. I
mm,
felt sad for the mother. She was almost crying. I mean, white. She
mm,
was begging him literally, please. You know why? Because they have forced, presumably, they had forced their convictions on him all along while he was still under their total control. And he was just waiting for when he will clock 17 and can be of his own mind
mm,
without anybody
mm,
coercing him. And I thought I could use the Nigerian method of, you
mm.
know what, I talk to your son. And then the boy did not even give me
Wow.
listening ears. So
Wow.
now what do we learn from that? Instead of emphasizing faith or our conviction as a rule they must follow,
Mm,
help them to understand the why.
mm,
My daughter will always ask me why.
Why?
Sometimes that why can be very frustrating because you may not even have an answer to it.
mm,
Because you yourself, you followed, I won't say sheepishly,
mm.
all the years until
Mm,
your child is now asking you why. And you know
mm,
why they're asking why? Because
mm,
there's a paradigm shift. The dispensation
mm,
has changed. You
mm.
dare not ask your own parents why,
Right.
because it was considered an affront,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
But the
mm,
children of nowadays, they can,
mm,
you know how
mm.
they greet their teachers, they
Yeah.
call them by name. So that freedom is there.
Mm,
So
yeah.
we need, as parents, we need to shift from emphasizing faith or
Mm,
conviction as a rule to faith as a relationship.
mm,
Faith as a relationship,
mm.
right? Now,
Yes.
the children that are rejecting Christ or turning to their own convictions at
Mm,
later age, I tell you what, it is not because they don't love Christ. It is because of how you have presented it to them over the years as a moralist. It is on that basis they want to prove. So all the things they are doing is just to spite you. But they don't know that in the long run, if they don't if they don't do it quick and drop it off, it becomes a tradition. It becomes part of them. The devil can take advantage of it and then make them a blown atheist and all of that. So we need to change our style. We need to change our method. We need to change how we exemplify Christ, how we live out the Christian life. We need to change our relationship with them. Conviction should not be forced. Conviction is not forced. I am a trained marriage counselor. When you come for marriage counseling, one of the questions I ask you is, what is your conviction? What are your convictions about this person you want to marry? Because it's your conviction that you will hold on to when things becomes rocky. So if you have no conviction, then you are not ready. So for the children, allow them to build conviction based on what you have taught them, what they have learned. No, no, not what you forced on them. Because these days, the Christianity we practice is Christianity of forcing. Let us go to church. They tell you they don't want to go to church. You say, by all means, so long as you're under this house, you must go to church. No, parenting style has changed. So faith and conviction is not a rule-based system. It cannot be imposed. You have to carry them along, make them understand why they need to do what you are asking them to do. I know a lady grown up now, married with children. She grew up under a priest and it was so regimented. She didn't like it, but she had no choice. The priest was her uncle, you know. And by the time she became an adult, she could stand on her own. She said she deliberately became delinquent just to frustrate them. But be careful so that what you call frustration to others may not be destruction to your own self. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if anything to add.
I would just like to add a little bit that he has said everything I want to say, though, but I just want to add something. Um, if you have a teenager that is not listening,
Mm,
maybe doesn't want to follow you, number one, you're praying, yes,
mm,
keep speaking to the child. This
mm,
age of children are not, you don't deal with them by being too strict.
mm,
Though you have to stand, you have to be firm,
mm,
but you have to be create a balance between being firm and friendly with them. Then if you have somebody, maybe a younger person that maybe a family member that is younger, maybe a cousin that is younger, that could befriend this person that's a Christian, also that has the same belief as yourself, that could befriend this person, this child of yours, you could create that relationship because they might feel you're a millennial
yeah.
and they might prefer to learn more from that younger person. They might listen more to that
Mm,
younger person because these days is influence.
mm,
Social media is influence.
mm,
Everything now about this age of children is influence. So if you have somebody they can listen to, you could also try to bring them together, let that relationship with them. They could be friends with cousins that are of like faith. So those ones can always talk to them and checkmate them. So it's always good because if you're keeping them away from the vices in the society, you are trying to guide them against those friends that are, you need to also create a
Provide for them.
substitute,
yeah, substitute for that.
Yes.
yes, for them.
Mm.
So That's just what I
That's
want to
great.
add. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Ma. So this question is like the second to the last, unless we have more questions in the chat box. And I would follow that up with what Mommy has just said. So Mommy will help us answer this question. So what do you think is the role of the church community in parenting? You know, back home they say, oh, it takes a village um to raise a child. And of course, we don't have that kind of village here as much as we have back in Nigeria. So I think I would say that the part of the village that we kind of have is our church environment. So what's the role of the church? Is the church meeting up with these expectations, things we expect from them? How do we engage the church in bringing up our children rightly?
Okay, thank you so much. First off, I think churches differ. Even as Pentecostals, what we teach, the
Mm,
doctrines,
mm,
or how will I put it, the truth or nitty-gritty of the gospel differ.
mm,
Some go deep, some just give the word. So it depends on that church. Yeah. So having said that, I'll say that um the importance of the church is very good, especially from the young age. You need to make them, and you need to how will I put it? You need to integrate them into the church, to children church, to the youth church. You need to integrate them based on their age. Let them keep going. Let them keep hearing that word. You are doing your bit at home, but that church is the importance of integrating them to church is very important. And apart from the church and all of that, because a lot of us were raised in the church, we heard the word Bible to cover, cover to cover. We can preach points 1, 2, 3 by default because of what we have heard. So even if anybody from where I've been goes out, there's a limit to what that person can do because you have heard the word too much, if I may use that word. So there's a limit. So it's an investment,
mm,
taking them to church and helping them hear the word of God. Then for leaders in the church, we need to change our methods of dealing with these children because some youths can decide that okay, may not be
mm,
comfortable going to church. They don't have that enthusiasm to go to church because there's nothing to look up to.
mm,
There's no drive, nothing exciting. So we need to create um an enabling environment and make the teaching also relatable to their situation, to this age, to them, whilst preaching the truth of the word. You talk about character, you talk about the intimate relationship because some people were raised to be churchy, but they don't have any relationship with God. So as parents and even as teachers, we need to emphasize the importance of having an intimate relationship with God yourself personally,
mm,
that you can talk to God. You can teach the child or the student how to talk to God and God hears you. You have a situation, pray to God and He will hear you. So that's how you build relationship. You guide them. Okay, did you read the word of God today? Can you share with us what you read? So from there, it begins to build the relationship. Even in my school, in secondary school, then we usually do quizzes and we give prizes for who can recite Bible verses from give us a Bible verse every week to recite. So at the end of the term, somebody has to recite it from week 1 to week 12. And in the whole assembly, they get gifts. So those are motivations. So we need to create ways to make it exciting for them. The children asking a lot of questions, the youth asking a lot of questions. So We need to come down to their level, listen to them, befriend them, even in church. Yeah, so that's just how to help them, I think.
Thank you so much, Ma. Sir, do you have something to add to that?
Yes, I have something to add. I want to say that churches should be mindful of how they recruit church workers. That's the foundation. I tell you,
Mm, mm,
there are so many churches, they just see a brother or a sister that has probably joined the church for some time. They're like,
mm,
well, what are you doing? Find a department and join.
mm,
We don't check their salvation. We don't check if they are proper fits
mm,
for the ministry you are assigning them to. So it is very important to be mindful of how you choose
mm.
church workers. I wish I were in that committee where I interview people that want to join church work. Questions that we ask you, you will
Okay.
probably change your mind and say it's not the right time. Because church work, especially as it relates to children, is very, very important. It's very, very important. The Bible emphasizes how how much importance children are
Mm,
to the kingdom of God. So how that importance extends to those that keep watch over them, those that teach them in the church. So
mm,
if I had it, I would counsel that be mindful of how you get people into church, or especially the children ministry. Let's not mix the sheep and the goats together. The church is a place that harbors everybody. Don't forget.
mm,
It's a place where sinners meet with Christ.
mm,
Some people may not be saved, but they will join the workforce. That shouldn't be.
mm,
You will
mm,
see the impact on the children. I mean, there have been bad stories about workers in the church doing all sorts, right?
mm,
I know it. I know it's something I know.
yeah, yeah.
Don't touch my leg. Let me talk. Now, it's also important that the church teachers, that's why emphasis on children teachers that are teaching. It's also important that they know what they are teaching. They are grounded in God's word.
Mm,
I was in an assembly one day and somebody asked a question, and the response the teacher in quote was giving was completely off it.
mm,
If I didn't know the word of God, I wouldn't have been able to tell. The church
mm,
is the place where knowledge is acquired. Therefore, as a teacher, if you have that privilege of standing to teach any bracket of children or
mm,
adults, be sure you are teaching the holistic truth in God, because that's what they will
mm,
carry through life. If you
mm,
teach them error, they carry it. So take time to prepare. Be sure that you know what you are teaching. Be grounded, right?
mm,
And as parents, don't leave the work to church workers alone. Sometimes while service is going on, I walk to the children church just to listen in on what they are being taught.
mm,
Sometimes I may not necessarily walk there, but I'm at a distance where my ears are shut from listening to where
Mommy.
I am, but I'm listening to what is being said in, and based on that, I have conversations with my children, either when we are driving, and they
Mm,
ask me, Daddy, how did you know? How did you
mm,
know this?
wow.
So it is very important that we
Mm,
we pay
yeah,
attention to
intentional.
people in church,
Mm,
yes,
mm,
intentional about what they, and then the church should also train workers, that's children workers particularly, to learn and apply recent relevant teaching pedagogy.
mm,
There are pedagogies that has to be applied. So when you are applying one method of teaching,
mm,
right, that is at variance with what is how it is being taught in the school, it is the how now
mm,
we are talking about, not the
mm,
content.
yeah.
The child will be confused. And
Mm,
children, they ask a lot of questions.
mm,
They ask a lot of questions. I remember one day my daughter asked me, why does Jesus have two fathers?
mm.
He has Joseph as his father, he has God. How? You know, so as a teacher, if you are not grounded,
Mm,
you will just tell them rubbish and they carry that thing all
mm,
through life. So I think those are my submissions as relates to what the church
Wow.
can do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I was going into the last question, but we have a question that has just dropped, which will be the last question we'll be taking from the comments from our participants. So we'll quickly take that and then we just draw the conclusion with the last question I've got for you, sir and Ma. So it says, thank you very much for that answer, sir and Ma. Concerning the church thing, currently we have churches with different doctrines. Some have the grace concept that cancel existence of sin. Some pastor believes tattoo is not a sin, while some believes it is. I can continue to name different contradictions in doctrines with different churches. How do we draw the line with our children? Do we recommend a church or preacher or teacher? And how do we control what they learn, even in churches and from preachers online? That's a deep question.
Is that for me or for me?
Ah, for any one of you.
So my basic principle is this: know God for yourself.
Mm,
Know
Mm.
God for yourself. I tell you what, myself and my wife we discuss the fact. I'm sorry to say this. I'm not condemning everybody. It takes an effort to stand before a crowd to teach or to preach, and sometimes they will be dispelling the wrong information unknowingly.
mm,
But know God for yourself, so that by the time you get home with your children, you ask them what they learned. If there are any misconceptions or things that are not in synchrony with God's word, you correct it. Now, I don't care much about what the doctrines may be in
mm,
churches.
mm,
The
yeah,
Bible is my standard. The Bible is our standard as a
mm,
family. If it is not in the Bible, we yank it out.
mm,
So what has the Bible said concerning these things? Because I had a conversation with a pastor, I mean a very senior pastor recently. No, no, not recently, but not too long ago. And he told me something. Yeah. He said some things that are doctrines in churches
mm,
today are actually personal beliefs of the founders
mm,
of those churches.
mm,
They have translated their personal beliefs
Yeah.
into doctrines.
mm,
So that is why you need to know God for yourself. You need to open the Bible
mm,
for yourself. You need to understand
yeah,
God for yourself and then
mm,
translate that understanding to your children. During devotion, my children, they read the Bible. Let them read it for themselves and see what is in the Bible. And then you can
mm,
help to provide that explanation. But if you don't know the Bible, how do you
mm,
teach them or show them the right way?
mm,
So
Then I want to add, um, the question asks, how do you make your children control your children and what they watch online?
mm, mm,
So sometimes some things cannot be controlled, especially in this part of the world where you have grown-ups and then you go to work, you're hustling to pay bills and all of that.
mm,
So you might not really know what they're watching, but the much you can do, like I said before, is pray. Then when you're having devotions, you can assign a particular child to teach.
mm,
Sometimes you say you can make a roster. It's your turn to teach us today this devotion. So based off that teaching, you will know what that child knows and what you understand. You'll be able to correct the child. So and you keep talking. You keep as parents, you can never be tired of talking.
mm,
You keep talking, keep telling them the right thing. You could watch a movie together and then you talk about it, you interact. It's in that way they're learning some values, they're learning the
mm,
truth or what should be. So I think it's all boils down to this same relationship, the family front. I think the family bears the most, in my own perspective, of raising children. Yeah, so that's
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, sir. So we're just going into the last question because I want us to get out of here by 7. Right. So I'm going to allow mommy to give us a take home. And I'm going to be allowing daddy to do that as well. But I am going to be structuring daddy's take home because I want him to kind of put perspective to how he does it. Because I want to learn and I want fathers. I'm sure mommy feels so relaxed with parenting. And when I say relaxed, in the sense that she has a partner that is very much hands on. And I'm sure she's very proud of Pastor Isosa in that regard. And and we see that too outside. It's one of those things I first noticed about Pastor Isosa, how he's so much involved with his children's both physical and spiritual, emotional upbringing. The children are so free. I mean, for children to go to daddy instead of mommy in the house and say, daddy, I'm hungry, when mommy is also right there, it shows, that, yeah, that, is somebody that is very, very much involved. And obviously, we can hear him say, oh, when I took the children to the park, this and that. So I'm sure, that tells also much about him. So, how do you do it, sir? And what do you have to say to fathers in that regards of how they can also be very much hands-on and involved with their children?
um,
Yes, thank you very much. Others will sending emoji. God is watching you. So, for me, I can't but be involved. I can't but be
Hmm,
involved. And God has made it so that my job also helps me to get involved. I understand
hmm,
that situations may not be the same for everybody. It may
hmm.
not be the same for everybody. So I commend my employers for my for the privileges that I enjoy, working from home. It gives me a lot of leverage in my parenting duties. So for me, I feel it's you just must be involved. Before I got married, I read books. I read books on parenting. The mommy Bethel on this call, she shared a book with me. She might have forgotten, but I still have that ebook on parenting, raising the girl child. And society. We learn a lot of things from society. We see the ills that goes on in the society. You don't want your child to be caught up in any of those mess, so you have to be on your guard. Besides, I believe that every child has a potential in them, and they need to be guided, they need to be handheld, to actualize those potentials. And the father plays a big role, the mother as well. But for me, I consider it very, very, very important. So we try to create a balance. It's not all play. It's not all study. It's not all seriousness, right? We have the time for their books. They have time for their study. We have time to play even as a family, right? And it is very important. So I appreciate that many of us are busy, but please let's give time to our children. God will hold us accountable. God forbid that they don't turn out well. God will hold us accountable. And I tell you what, you will also be proud when they turn out well. I received a report from my daughter's school. They gave her a report yesterday in the entire key stage. I mean, she came out really well. My wife doesn't like me talking about it. She's tapping my leg again, but this gives me joy. This gives me joy. It's part of the rewards. I mean, it's part of the things that helps you, that makes you keep making that effort because it is
Yes.
turning out. You are seeing the results. So that's it for me. Thank you.
I love the tapping of leg. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Okay, so I'll take home from mommy as well before we wrap up the session.
My final thoughts, ultimately as families, the after school environment is just as important as the school day. So regardless of the choice or active sorry, bear with me. Regardless of the choice, active discipleship at home is paramount. It's very, very important. And for parents who feel overwhelmed, who feel um they are not pushing enough, or they are not doing enough, or they feel they are not meeting up, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just take a break. Take a break. Plan, re-strategize, and then you go again. So you're just parenting for the first time. You've not done it before. So you are learning, and that in itself is growth. So don't be too hard. Even if your child is not doing excellently well in school, don't give up. Don't feel like you have failed. No. Keep at it, keep investing in them, get lessons for them if they need it. Um, keep praying for them. See, you could also get time, create time and teach them yourself. So just try your best to be involved. And then their character is also very important. So even if you have a child that is not 100% academically, but has a very good character, you are winning as well.
Yes.
So don't be too hard on yourself. So that's just it. Just create an enabler environment for your family, and be prayerful. A lot. Prayer solves a lot of things. Yes, so that's my take.
Can I add something,
Of
ma?
course. Yes, sir.
Also, this works a lot.
Mm.
Develop the culture of writing. Is it praises now or notes?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Just get a sticky note. Write
Mm.
something good about your child. I love you. I admire your courage. I like the
Appreciate.
appreciate them. Put it under their bed, under their
Proud of you.
I'm proud of you. Put it under their pillow, right? Get the
Mm.
sticky note, put it in their bag as they are going to school. They may not see, let them see it
I'm
suddenly and
excited.
be
Wow.
excited,
From dad,
Mm.
from mom.
Yes.
Oh, wow, wow. That's very much lovely. Like it's a take home for me actually. Put
Yeah.
sticky notes everywhere. Let them feel good about themselves. It's very important. Wow, thank you so, so much. So I can officially say we've come to the end of this session. I hope that we have gotten one thing or the other from this discussion. I've learned a lot myself, and please, I hope you can just write down what you've learned so that you don't forget. And also remember that this session was recorded and it's on YouTube. You can search with the topic, and there's also the link in the chat box. Please rewatch to remind yourself of the things you've learned here. And if you have any comments about today's program, any feedback, um, would love to hear from you. Please, you can send a private message to me or to Mr. and Mrs. Eyato about the feedback you have regarding the program. If you love to have something more like this, I hope in the future, I trust that we're going to bring more and more standalone events like this relating to parenting in the UK that can also help us navigate our journey. This has been, I can see our comments. Say thank you so much. Damilola, thank you. Hetel, thank you. Adalbi. And for our mommies that have been dropping comments so far through the program, Mrs. Abibola Ojo, Mommy Bethel, Oh, thank you so much, Mommy Modupe Ajayi. We see you. We are happy to have you here. Thank you for staying with us till the end. And thank you so much for the comments so far. We appreciate you. And we hope to also come together again to have more and more sessions like this. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. and Mrs. Egato, for honoring my
Yes,
invite. I really appreciate you and the effort you've put together to join us and to bring this valuable information to us. Thank you so much. And we have come to
for
the
having us.
end. Ma, sorry, you said what, Ma?
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah. It's a pleasure to have you, Ma. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a lovely rest of the weekend and a week ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Over and out. That's the end of today's session. Thank you. Thank you.